Hey, gun people! Gonna do a little cleaning of mags. I can't remember if I did these before, but I figured I'd just do one and let you pick up these mags, $6 each at the gun show. I got 4 of these green ones. Sometimes I'll find them for $5 or $6, but when I get them, I always take them apart and clean them. Now the big difference between the green and the yellow or orange or sand or whatever, these have the no bend front area, and this one will bend. Now I've used those for years that don't have that extended special handy duty no twist flip follower, and I've never had a jam in these, but they say if you're firing automatic, this will not as likely to jam as this one will, because it's coming out and going in fast. So most people don't shoot automatic. I think they're both fine mags. These are newer generation, I guess. These are a little bit older. But I already cleaned this one. I just want to explain the followers there. So when I get one of these mags, you see the pieces here. There's basically 4 pieces. One is the back plate, the spring that's inside, the follower, and then the magazine shell tube, whatever you want to call it here. So those are the 4 pieces. It's easy to wipe one of these down on the outside, but if I buy something used or you're shooting a bunch of ammo, you're going to get some blowback. If your guns are at your magazines outside, they're going to get dust. If you leave them in your car, they're going to get dusty. If you put them in a vest and the vest is in your car or in a trunk or something and you're driving around, they're going to get a little dusty. I'm not into cleaning them every year, but you know what? If I use it a bunch and I go put a lot of rounds through 1 or 2 mags, then I'll go ahead and clean it. So to get the back plate off, you'll notice it has a little lip right here. Right here is that little lip. And if you just stick anything, I usually use like a good little, you can use a screwdriver. If you watch when I bend this, it'll lift that up just a little bit. See how it's curving that? I'm not going to do it hard enough to bend it, but you just need to lift it up enough so you can pull forward. So I'll get this, I'll lift it up. Meanwhile, I'm pulling or pushing forward, and it'll come forward like so. Okay, and then as I get that out, I just pull this off. Now some of them come off easy, some of them you can use this. Sometimes I'll stick this in here and give it a little shove there to get it out more. And then sometimes, if it's really hard, I'll just get a little pair of needle nose and grab this. Don't bend it or do anything. These are pretty tough, but I can just rip it out like that. Now these springs normally don't fly out and go flying like a lot of springs because they're connected to the follower, and the follower is in there pretty tight. So you can disconnect it. Just make sure you look at the way you do it and how it's set up before you do it. I usually don't disconnect it. I mean, I'll get in there with a little Q-tip or whatever, some oil, or wipe it down. But unless it's really bad and I need to take the follower off, I usually just leave it on the spring. And so you pull the spring out, you got your little rear butt plate tab, spring tension retainer. Somebody's going to be all technical on the thing. So my spring's out. I'm going to pull this out. And here it comes out. I'm not forcing it hard. I'm just giving it a little tension here. This one's actually in there pretty good. And I got my little follower out. So then I'll look through the mag, and again, is it really, and I try to keep the pieces in the same mag. I don't want it, although all these pieces are interchangeable, and I could put this one in this one, and this plate in this one, because I pulled them apart and they looked okay, I'm going to put them back together on the same parts. Now, if I have a magazine that doesn't work and I've got 2 that don't work, then I can take them apart, part them out, and use the parts. So once I get all my pieces laid out, I'll just take some rim oil, your favorite oil. I'm not getting paid by rim oil. I'm going to squirt down a spring, and I'm going to put some inside the tube here to just put a little fine coat of oil in there. Maybe I'll switch my springs over, get a good little coat of oil on the other side. And of course, while I'm doing this, anytime you're spraying oil to save time, I like to keep all the things I'm spraying. So if I'm taking apart a gun instead of spraying each part and wasting a lot, I'll take all the parts I want to spray, put them in one little pile, and give them one of these. And that way I don't spray each one and I don't lose as much, because the residual that I'm losing is hitting my other parts. Like here, it hit these parts. So I'm going to take this little part here and I'll just give that a wipe down. And then I know that's going to be good and clean on the inside. It's got a little coat of oil on it. And now and I just call these butt plates, you can call them spring retention, magazine, spring retention, magazine, retainer, back plate, hard, whatever. And then when I get for inside the tube here, you can either get an older, I used this to clean a gun the other day, but it's got cloth on it. And I can just kind of run that around in there and get the tracks and make sure it's okay. The other thing I'll do sometimes is I'll get a t-shirt with a screwdriver, and then I'll just shove this in here straight through to make sure I get all the pieces. Then as it comes out the other end, I can just run this back and forth, and it's cleaning the interior that I've already sprayed down. Now when I pull this out, it should look like so. And I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm trying to get it in some light. And then after I clean that, the inside of that, I've cleaned this. Then I got to clean my my follower. Now, a lot of people will just clean a spring like so. And that's okay for the most part if it's not dirty, and this one looks pretty clean. But ideally, I like to clean all springs, is to get a piece of cloth straight through it and make a little loop. And then I just literally twist my spring and I clear every corner and every turn. And by twisting this spring, this is really getting each and every curve of this spring, and it's putting a fine coat of oil on it. And then when I open this up, I should be able to see how dirty that was. So that's how much dirt I got off that spring, not a whole bunch. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm afraid that's going to wash out the light, but we'll see. So that's about what I got off there. Not a whole bunch. And then that's pretty much it. If I want to polish this up because I don't like the way it looks or it looks dirty, I can go ahead and give that a little scrub if I want to put something on there and make it real. I mean, I don't really care. It's going to have magazines in it anyway. I just want to make sure that I get the dirt and grime off. And again, if it was really dirty, I would pull this spring off and really give this follower a detailed cleaning and get down in this little crack right here and this crevice right here and really clean that. But I mean, this magazine looks pretty good. And then after I'm done, stick the follower back in there. If you remember which way it went. Hell, I forgot. I always like to check on another one. Bullet goes to the curve. So the bullet points to the curve. So if the curve's like so, I want the bullet pointing to the curve. That makes sense. But anyway, let me get this in here. You can put the long side to the front if that makes it easier. Small side to the back of the mag. However you want to, just pay attention when you put it together on how that goes in there. So my spring's in there. Get my little pin. Of course, it's going to go to the little groove here. This is flat. So the flat piece is going to go to the flat part. The little groove part, this little groove here, is going to come down. Take one magazine apart, you can look at the other one. So basically, I'm going to put this spring down, slide this in, wait for that little click, and then as that clicks in, I know I'm good to go. Magazine's good to go, and it's going to pop in and out. And I'll do that to all these magazines because they're new. And again, when I buy used mags, that's kind of what I do. Not rocket science, not real hard, but if you've never done it, it may be a little intimidating, so to speak. But I figured I'd put it out there in case somebody knows that's how I do it. If you got a better way, put it in the comments. Will and that there.